have an understanding of why don't we have networks in the rural area.
Why doesn't it just get built every
Yeah.
day?
Yeah.
Okay.
You realize that when the federal broadband plan was written, they couldn't deal with this issue
Right.
because the costs from provider to provider were so varied.
Right.
But I think we could say that even.
Well,
I mean,
and there's a testimony that Greg Sidek from Georgetown University made to the Senate. It's rather old, it's 2006, but it was against net neutrality, and he breaks out the economic assumptions of a network, and it's pretty readable.
okay.
So
Do you want to get that for us? Just
sure.
see if, I mean, we could consider whether that would help us in framing this. Because I do, yeah, go ahead.
Just the background on this is from Burnaby when we had to turn in sheets with ideas to add to it. And so this was the language Burnaby had on her sheet that came to the outline that we put together. And then when I talked to Burnaby, we had some back and forth about what it meant. It was some of these other projects. And it's a little bit difficult, given the status of some of these, to start saying what the success factors were.
Oh, hold on, one at a time.
I just comment that what I thought what we were doing here, and we've done this in the past in our previous report, was we as the text reflects, we said that we've been tracking, it's helpful to the reader and the state and policymakers to track what's the impact of the ARA investments in the state.
Right.
And the point that I thought was important for the task force to make to our readers is that ARA-funded investments are not the only game in town. That we're at the end of the ARA investment, that there's many other infrastructure and usage activities and initiatives
So then
underway
we-
in the state.
We need to say that.
So this is not the universe.
Well, I mean, here's what we should do then. Under the updated ARA project table, we should say, in this appendix is the updated ARA project table. What the ARA funding has done is there is a catalyst for other types of projects and other projects going forward, some paragraph about that that then sets up what we're looking
Yeah,
at
I think
here.
the paragraph, actually the next one, if you just scroll down, that where it says, in addition to the area funded projects, there, that paragraph right there, actually does, I mean, the little tweak of that paragraph, I think we could
Yeah.
add the nuance that you're looking for, Mark.
Yes.
Because that does say, I just don't want to create the false impression that ARA was it and there's nothing else
But
Yeah.
you
Madam
have
Chair.
on page 38, you go, that top paragraph there, actually say, figure does not include at least 25 million of private or in-kind contributions. Does that need to move?
Well, that could be included in, but that's not totally capturing what we're
Yeah,
getting
right.
at there. I mean, that could be included in a.
No, maybe that whole paragraph.
But that
Sure.
25 million is specifically related to what the providers added to from their ARA award.
Oh, okay, okay, got
That's a
it,
question.
got it.
I think that that the points made here, that the headline doesn't really match the content.
So
and-
maybe we need to
and
just
call
strike.
out that we're addressing success factors, challenge, impact is overly ambitious.
Yes.
I think the point here, from my perspective, is to point out that there are other
Yep.
community-driven and provider-driven efforts underway, and here's some examples thereof.
Why don't we just say other projects of interest or something like that?
Well, it says other activities occurring in the state related to broadband access, adoption, and use that will enable us to make progress. I think that's right on.
And
Madam
Mrs.
Chair.
Dana, is there,
Okay, hang on, I
can
need the
we
chair.
hope, propose that we might actually be able to synthesize some success factors and challenges as we monitor these? 'Cause
I think that's great. I just don't know. I mean, can I just say, can we just hold on a second? Hold that thought, Dana. There's about 4 people in the room that want to talk right now, so
Sorry about that.
it's okay. You had something?
Well, the headline obviously changed to other infrastructure projects, I think is a truer picture of what we are saying
Yes.
in the ensuing paragraphs.
Although infrastructure, again, is a little bit misleading because the work that's described in the Glenn Commission is that infrastructure work.
And
So
some of
other
Ignite isn't either.
broadband
Yeah.
adoption and infrastructure.
Okay, we don't have to wordsmith it in
Yeah.
here, but we'll note that maybe there needs to be some other language there. Andy had something.
I was just doing a quick check and I couldn't find, was there a reference to Connect America Fund money in the report?
Yes,
Yeah, under federal.
later in the report,
Late in
when
the
we get in
report.
there.
Because that, as you talk about other projects, Connect America Fund, there's money coming in now, there's more hopefully in the future.
Mhm.
But that's also kind of related to, what else is coming in, what other types of investment are rolling in. So I don't, I'm not, this might be the place for it, it might not, I just wanted to.
Yeah, I think that's an important part. There's also, from my perspective, a relatively significant amount of private money not related to ERA being spent on projects. I mean, we're just completing $25 million of work.
You're listed, you're hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dick?
yeah.
The-
That's
the,
separate from
On a piece of information that I found, $249 is the average telecom investment in U.S. broadband per person annually. $249. $155 is what's being spent worldwide. So we're spending almost twice in the United States. We're spending almost twice on broadband as what's being spent in the rest of the world. And I think that's an important fact that we should put in there, that the $249 per person is being spent annually on broadband.
Why don't we evaluate whether that's gonna be helpful in context of Minnesota? Just
Okay.
send a link to Diane.
Okay.
Peter had something.
Madam Chair, would it be appropriate if I could suggest a question to pose to the task force?
Sure.
Bernadine highlighted the second clause of the first sentence there, that this appears to be highlighting some examples of ARA-funded projects that are illustrative of how those projects are enabling the state to make progress towards the broadband goals. But as I would ask the task force if, as they read these examples, if they feel that the description here actually explains how that's happening. Because the examples that we have here are descriptions of the project, but if the intention is to describe how ARA-funded projects are helping the state progress,
Can I help you?
Yes.
We're actually not describing ARA
okay.
projects in these paragraphs. These are non-ARA
I
projects.
see.
So one of the things is the ARA projects are referenced in Appendix C. So if you go to Appendix C,
I see.
you're gonna
Thank you,
see those
Yes,
listings.
I see.
But, I mean, we need to make sure that that sentence is as clear could be, that these are not ARA-funded projects. These are other projects happening outside of the scope of ARA. So we'll just try to
Thank you,
work
Madam
that
Chair.
in.
Sorry for that.
It's
Taking us
fine.
down
So, anything burning right now? We're gonna go back to Dana's point. So, I do think that, again, we need a better context paragraph around presenting this information. I mean, so if you get at a high level, just basically, why does it matter that we have ARA funding, and why does it matter that these other initiatives are taking place? Well, presumably, it's because it connects more people with broadband. And there's a question, Dana poses a question, do we want to say that part of our work going forward is try to evaluate in some way success factors, common challenges, and the impact on cost and service? I mean, are we getting outside, I guess I would say, are we getting outside the scope of what we need to do? Now, I think we could do factors, success factors and challenges maybe more easily. When we start to get into impact on cost and services, I don't know that we have the capacity to do it as a broadband task force. So, friendly amendment, if we wanted to say that we want to tackle in 2013 some diving into these projects around, are there common things that keep coming up that make for success and that pull something down? I'm open to that. Bernadine?
I think it's important and relevant to the charge of our task force to report to the legislature and the governor the impact on the goals of this effort. So
Yes.
adoption and access.
Okay.
And I think that those are reasonable expectations for us to do and core to our charge.
Mission. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would second Dana's suggestion that as part of our work plan going forward, and potentially a nod to that in this report, our intention to serve the state and its citizens by in fact calling out what has the impact on adoption and access, which is the goals of these efforts.
Okay. So that's forward looking. So I think that the basic point is we need a little better setup to this section that starts on the bottom of page 14 going into 15 to give the reader context around why it's important, why are we telling them this information, and then what we might go forward with, okay?
No problem.
All right. Anything else on 15? Yep, Andy.
In the OK Valley Initiative,
Nabik?
David, thank you for sharing. I'm not sure it's appropriate for us to, or it's relevant on who conducted the feasibility study. So
Okay.
I would recommend that we strike the reference to the consultant as to who did the study, and just the fact that the study was done is probably the most relevant piece.
All right, we'll make sure we're, okay. Anything else? We're gonna move to 16, which continues on at the top with the other